best magicians. You know who they have to fool. Let's not mess around. Let's get this show started right now with Penn and Teller. Any magician who fools Penn and Teller earns a spot performing in their world-famous Vegas magic show. So let's get started and meet our first fooler of the night.
When people find out I'm a magician from Salem, Massachusetts, they usually think pointy witch hats, cauldrons, stuff like that. But outside of the tourism industry, I've never once seen a person flying around on a broomstick. The way that I started to perform magic in a locked psychiatric unit was that I wanted to get into the field of psychology, but I didn't have any experience. I thought, what better way to get my foot in the door than to volunteer? Magic is a great way to demonstrate to someone that their own perception is flawed, and there are many ways we can misperceive reality. I continue to use magic in my work now as a therapist to help people learn about how they misperceive reality. And I'm working to help expose and destroy that illusion.
Please welcome Tyler Twomney.
Penn, Teller, Allison, people. I've come here to share with you a secret. There is enormous potential for magic in the world of office supplies. Countless grand illusions have been performed with mighty skill on this large stage, and I've come waltzing out here holding just a pad of sticky notes and a pen. At this point, many of you are definitely thinking, you had me at office supplies, I'm sure this will be fantastic. But in all earnestness, the illusion that you're about to experience is small, and you'll need to come in very close. For your effort, however, you'll be rewarded because what you will see will change the way you look at these little pieces of paper forever and prove that the greatest magic happens at the smallest scale. So with that, I'd like to invite Allison to join me over here. Thank you very much.
Hi.
Hello, Allison. Now, Allison.
Yes.
These little pieces of paper often carry simple, mundane reminders to go to an important appointment with, say, the dentist.
Yeah.
But they can also be imbued with much more meaning, like the I love you note placed in a school lunchbox, only to be discovered by one maybe slightly embarrassed child later that day at school. For our little paper miracle to work, we can't just write any old thing down. We need something personally meaningful. Oh. So if you could please give us the first initial of someone near and dear to your heart, someone you love very much, someone who has had an enormous impact on the trajectory of your life.
Okay. S.
S. Okay. I'm going to draw two hearts with an arrow between them because we're going to do something very interesting in just a moment. Now, we're just getting started, but to really personalize this, we'll put your initial, which is A, in that heart, and their initial, which is S, in this heart. And we'll put a little bird in the sky just to give it a little sense of depth, don't you think?
Nice.
Yeah. Two hearts, at one point, separated by space and time, until one day, everything changed. That's what we're going to do right now. We're going to bring those hearts together. For you. Thank you very much. It would be my greatest honor if that one day wound up on your refrigerator.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You can go back. Maybe it's just me, but I'm sensing a little skepticism emanating from this general area. Yes, the gentleman in the suits. Teller, could you please join me up here on stage? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me. It's an honor to meet you. You can stand right here. Now, we're going to have you choose a letter, but not just any letter. I'm sure when you were younger, just starting out in your career, you had a big dream, a vision for your life, okay? I want you to think of a big dream that you had that actually came true and the winding path that the pursuit of that dream took you down, all right? So just think of one letter from the alphabet to represent that big dream, and you can whisper it right in my ear once you've thought of it. He can speak. Now, we're going to place that dream inside a perfect little bubble. Not totally perfect, but it'll do. This is Teller's dream, and this is where we start to tell our story. Now, in the beginning, a dream is just a dream. It doesn't go anywhere until that initial exertion of effort sends it off in some direction. Then you gotta make some choices. You probably made some choices, some good, some maybe questionable. Sends it off in yet another. But then, through a series of events, both serendipitous and planned, we wind up where we are right here today. This is for you, and this is just one single page in the story so far. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, you had me when you had a marker, because I just love any sort of office supplies, so. But that was fantastic.
Thank you.
Do all of your tricks involve office supplies?
Whatever happens to be around, generally speaking.
All right. And do you work in an office?
Well, I used to, and the origin of this trick started there.
And so what made you interested in doing magic here on Fool Us?
Well, I didn't think that I would ever do a show like this, but here I am. Surprise.
So do you think you'll fool Penn and Teller?
No.
No? Really? No. That's honest. Yeah.
I mean, I like that they're still talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very dramatic furrow, brow.
All right. Well, it's time to go to Penn and Teller. Okay. Let's see if you fooled them or not.
All right.
Yeah.
You told the truth, Tyler, right at the beginning. You had us at office supplies. That's when we loved you. We loved you right on the office supplies. It's just a really funny line. It's also really true. What we also love about this is that so often in magic, the props that you're showing are not all the props you're using. But we believe that everything you're using, we see. It comes from the Post-it pad. It's really fabulous. And we also love the fact that it deals with love and how hearts can move around. You love one person, then love another, and things move from one place to the other. It also made me think of, still haven't found what I'm looking for. I don't know if you're a U2 fan at all, but sometimes when U2's playing and Bono moves right in front of the guitar player, and for a moment he just covers up. Well, the bass player at one time, and maybe the drummer another time, and maybe the guitar player at another time, he covers up when he moves in front of them, And you just think that his heart is moving right over the guitar player in that way. And but I'm getting off into music. I'm really supposed to be talking about magic, but we love the act, love the office supplies, and I should get really back to magic. But our heart's moving around all over the place.
Did any of that make sense to you?
I think so. Right? This code is so good.
I know.
It's so good.
It's so annoying.
I think they got it, and I'm okay with that.
Okay. All right. So you didn't fool them, but we appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Tyler Walmley.
Penn and Teller saw through that last trick, but they're not off the hook yet. More foolers and more Fool Us coming up. magician can play Penn and Teller for fools. Take a look.
When I was young, I used to be a fan of all the old-time TV shows, like The Twilight Zone. And, of course, I loved magic, and I loved animals. I studied veterinary medicine in Italy, all the while paying my way through school with magic. I really like doing coin magic in the hospital because a little boy or girl comes in worried about their sick dog or cat, and all I have to do is pull a coin out of that dog's ear, and their frown turns into a smile. Dogs and cats can't tell you what's going on. You have to figure that out, and that's the challenge. The challenge of magic is to find a new way to do an effect that makes it look even more impressive. I like to tell people that I have a love of magic, but my life is veterinary medicine.
Not bad for a day's work, right?
Of course, on other days, it's the other way around.
Please welcome the coin magic of Dr. Michael Rubenstein.
I've always enjoyed watching reruns of my favorite classic TV show, The Twilight Zone. I love that each episode revolves around tales of the strange, the macabre, and the magical. Tonight, I'd like to combine my love of that show with my passion for coin magic and tell you a story created especially for this occasion. So please, allow me to channel my best Rod Serling as I take you all on a magical journey into the Fool Us Zone. You walk through the doors of this theater and enter a magical dimension. A dimension of Penn, a dimension of Teller, a dimension of prestidigitation. You're put into a suggestive state of smoke and mirrors. You just punched your ticket for the Fool Us Zone. The word alchemy, by definition, the magical mutation of metal, a mythical power often attributed to wizards from a time long since passed by. But although myths are dismissed as tales of fantasy left to be told to gullible children, there exists within each of them a modicum of truth. And to that, I point you toward an incident which occurred back in 1931. The place, a street in the center of London. And if you were to look through the crowd, you might see on the corner a man shining shoes. That man is George Midas, a poor man, beat down by the hardships of his life. But in a few brief moments, that life will change. For George Midas is about to receive a golden opportunity to enter the Fool Us Zone. So there's George shining shoes. At the end of the day, he takes a look into his tip cup, but he didn't do very well. 1, 2, 3, 4 old and dusty copper pennies. Not even enough to buy his evening's meal. And he realized that once again he'd have to go home hungry and talk to his wife about the poverty in which they lived. He picked up one of the old and dusty pennies and without thinking removed a speck of dust. But when he looked back, George was surprised to see a coin of gold, solid gold. George couldn't believe his eyes, but he realized that with all of that gold, he now had enough money to pay all of his back rent. He put that coin away for safekeeping and picked up the second old and dusty penny. Just like the first, he removed a speck of dust, and like the first, that coin changed to gold, solid gold. And as George gazed upon that shiny gold penny, he realized that he now had enough money to put food on the table for a month. He put that coin away as well and picked up the third old and dusty penny. With hands now trembling, he removed a speck of dust, and as before, that coin changed to gold, solid gold. George's smile got bigger, for he realized that he now had enough money to buy brand new clothes for his entire family. And as he put that coin away, George spied one last coin sitting on the table. He picked it up and he pondered, could the magic happen yet one more time? He rubbed that coin on his sleeve, revealing once again a coin of gold, solid gold. But as George played around with that shiny gold penny, he stopped thinking of all of the good and wondrous things he was going to do for his family. For you see, George now realized that he had the power, and he was going to use that power not for good, but to get back at all of the people who beat him down and put him into a state of poverty. And at that very moment, that shiny gold penny changed back to copper. When George saw what had happened, his smile faded, for he realized that the magic had only been fleeting. And in fact, when he took a look back into his cup, he found that all of the shiny gold had changed back to copper,
And as George looked on in despair, it was as if you could hear the voice of Rod Serling, who said, yes, George Midas, a man who possessed a true gift, a real Midas touch. But gifts used for the wrong reasons can also be taken away. Back to the refund counters, found only in the stores of the Fool Us Zone. Thank you.
Dr. Michael Rubenstein. Oh, hi. Nice to meet you. Oh, I love the Twilight Zone as well.
Thank you. One of my favorites.
Yeah, so I really liked the ambience. And you use actual, like, old coins, I heard.
I do. I think that older coins are more interesting, and of course there's an intrinsic value. So these coins that I use were like from 1915.
That's
so
fantastic.
It really fits the ambiance of the Twilight Zone there, being the old England.
Is this your favorite coin trick?
Yes, it's basically a piece of magical theater that's developed over the course of the last 30 years. I've done it in different ways, but I really built it up so that it's more like, as I said, a piece of theater, where the magic is only like part of the story. It's not the story, but it basically complements the story.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Okay, Penn and Teller are ready. Let's see if you fooled them. Penn, Teller?
Ah, Dr. Michael, very nice. Very, very nice. In magic, people do storytelling all the time, but not in coin magic. Coin magic is usually, there's this, then it changes something else. And you just had a whole story behind there that just kept us spellbound. It was just wonderful how you told the whole thing through there. We're both big Twilight Zone fans, so we absolutely love that. I love that it gave a justification. Usually the coins are just color changing, and you actually gave them value change and gave a story. We found it really interesting that on many coins, it has e pluribus unum as the symbol of the United States of America. But since Teller was a Latin scholar, a little bit more of how you did it was ex uno plura, more than the other way around. We also going to just use a little bit of jargon here, because I love doing that. And we're just going to say something magician to magician. There was a nice variation on the Ramsey subtlety that we saw you doing. But we loved it there, and I think we probably, with Latin and magic terms, I think maybe we got some stuff there. You agree with us?
I don't speak Latin.
One thing I would ask is, the most important part of this trick for me is how the cleanliness in which the trick finished. And I was wondering if that was important for you. Because when you deal with 4 dirty coins, you got to keep your hands clean.
Yeah, well, that to us, although we loved it, was not that important a matter.
Well, that meant nothing to me. Did it mean something to you?
Yes, it did.
Okay, so you
They're
didn't...
good.
You didn't fool them? Well, thank you, Dr. Michael Rubenstein. Someone is going to catch Penn and Teller off guard eventually. It just might happen after this, so stick around. Welcome back. No one has fooled Penn and Teller yet. Let's find out if our next act has what it takes. Take a look.
My name is Anastasia Sin. I'm a magician. I live in a very picturesque community. My show involves both magic and sideshow. When I first started performing, I went from doing tricks behind a bar where I was working to performing in razor blade swallowing act for teenage girls and watching them run away screaming and crying, and it was the reaction that hooked me. If you thought that was cool, let me show you this. I have 7 implants on my body right now. Sensors in the tips of my fingers. I have sensors in the backs of my wrist. One under my arm that gives you my body temperature, and in my hand here can be scanned by a phone and can either give you messages, or I can program it to open hotel doors when we're on tour. Tonight, I'm going to show you what a body can do.
Here for your enjoyment, Anastasia Sin. glad you're happy.
I'm really happy.
Oh, that's going to give me a lot of nightmares.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why do they keep calling you Allison? My name's Willow.
Yeah, I get that a bunch, too.
Do you?
Yeah.
I actually have a present for you.
You do?
I do. I have a
Does
present for you.
it come out of your body?
It does.
Oh, there's a lot going on in there.
Pink sweater, Willow. With I Love Willow, that's for you.
Thank you. I can keep this?
Yes, that's for you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, well, now I forgive you for all the nightmares that I'm going to have.
Oh, yay. That makes me happy.
So I don't even know where to begin. Like, how do you decide yes? And you're bleeding, by the way. Ouch. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's like funny and gross all at the same time.
I try.
So did performing come naturally to you?
No, actually, it took me about 2 years to get out of or over my stage fright. It was brutal stage fright. Like,
Really?
I felt like someone would punch me in the stomach every time I went out on stage. And as soon as I kind of adopted some sideshowy style that scared people more than it scared me, it kind of took care of this stage fright issue.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go to Penn and Teller and see if you fooled them. Penn, Teller?
The most amazing thing about this is that some of this is absolutely real. Some of it is partially real. Some of it's not real. And believe me, if we told in detail which was which, people would be freaked out.
Yes.
Because the fact that the stuff that isn't real is the trivial stuff, and the fact the stuff that is real is the freak out stuff is really good. We have a lot of acts on this show. We know a lot of magic. We've been doing magic for a long time. And most of the acts that we see on here, with practice, with work, with study, with rehearsal, we could do. The stuff that you do, we couldn't do. We just plain do not have the stomach for it. You're just so much tougher than we are. She is tough enough, rough enough, in love enough, and rich enough.
So this is the first time I'm really glad they talked in code, because I don't think I need to know.
Oh, Allison, you so don't want to know. You so don't want to know. Oh, you don't want to know.
I know you know what I'm doing.
Don't even ask me.
Yes, okay, good. So, Anastasia says...
Thank you, Anastasia. Thanks for coming on.
Up next, more of TV's best magic, including a trick by our very own Penn and Teller. Stay close. Welcome back to Fool Us. Our next magician has one of the more interesting backstories of any fooler. Check it out.
I'm Adam Chire, co-creator of Siri, the voice assistant on Apple devices. I started out with magic at 9 years old. The Rubik's Cube, for me, that was a form of magic. And in fact, the first piece of software I ever wrote was a program to solve Rubik's Cube. Entrepreneurs and magicians are very similar. Both have to imagine an impossible future and the technology behind it. Many of my creations were things that people did not believe were possible. That really shows the relationship between technology and magic.
Please welcome Siri Us contender Adam Chire.
Hello, I'm here today to reveal to you my secrets. Entrepreneurs, the first thing when you have a big idea is you need to create a prototype that shows the world of your future idea. I've happened to bring with me today my first prototype of Siri. Would you like to see it?
Yes.
I keep it in a little box. Once you have an idea and a prototype, you need investors to fund your company. Penn and Teller, would you join me on stage? You can be the ones I'm trying to impress. I'm going to mix these cards, give them a shuffle. When I started Siri in 2007, people would say, I have Google. I have an iPhone. Why do I need anything else? And I said, Siri will be better in 3 ways. First, when you put a keyword into a search engine, it just gives you links. Siri is going to answer the question. Number 2, I want to be able to handle multiple tasks at the same time. And number 3, I want to be able to refine my questions conversationally. How about Tuesday? What about the next day? Would you help me, Teller, and just choose any card from the shuffle deck, but don't look at it, just pull it out of the deck. Okay, and let's choose a card for Penn as well. Let me show you how this is going to work. On the back of every card, I have a little button. What you do is you press it. Doo-doo. No, I was just kidding. We didn't actually implement speech recognition in our first prototype of Siri. It turns out some people don't actually like to talk to phones. But no matter, no worries, you can actually type your questions. So, Teller, you chose a card at random. It could be red or it could be black. What color is Teller's card? C-O-L-O-R, color. And Siri says, red. Maybe. Next, your card, it could be a 6, a 2, a king. Let's ask, what number is the card? N-U-M-B-E-R, number? The answer is a 3, a red 3. Now, if it's red, it could be diamonds or it could be hearts. Is it hearts? H-E-A-R-T-S? It is hearts. Maybe. And every card in the deck has exactly one match. So if I were to ask M-A-T-C-H for the match, now, I know there's no way this could work, but if this were true, it's saying your card, Teller, was the red 3 of hearts, so the match would be the other red 3, the red 3 of diamonds. That's what I call artificial intelligence right there. And you chose the red 3 of hearts. Now, we've said that Siri can answer the question. I can refine my question conversationally. Is it red? Is it diamonds? But we also said we're going to handle multiple tasks at the same time. Now, Penn, we chose a card for you. This was the color pile. What is the color of Penn's card? Black. This is the number pile. What number is Penn's card? 7, black 7. If it's black, it could be clubs or it could be spades. Siri says clubs. And every card in the deck has exactly one match. And if you chose the black 7 of clubs, the match would be the other black 7, the black 7 of spades. The card that you chose would be the black. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
Adam Shire! Hi, nice to meet you. You could stay in bed for the rest of your life and do nothing else and still be very impressive.
Yeah, I aspire to be a magician like all the others on this stage.
That's amazing. I have so many questions about Siri. Like, sometimes you can get Siri to have a little bit of an attitude.
Well, we knew when we created Siri that, yes, we wanted it to answer questions and do tasks for you, but we knew that people would ask those funny kinds of questions. So do you know what the #1 question that people ask Siri? I've seen the logs.
Oh, is it sing for me?
Very close. That's in the top 10.
Yes.
The #1 question that people ask Siri is, do you love me?
Aww.
And we built in that kind of functionality into our prototype. Let me show you.
Okay.
Siri, do you love me? L-O-V-E. And Siri says, she gives me her heart.
That's fantastic. So have you been performing magic your whole life as well?
I was really into magic when I was a kid, maybe 8 to 12. And then I went for 35 years not doing any magic. And then when my son became about the age that I was, we rediscovered magic together, and that's something we can share.
Well, I bet he's excited. All right, well, let's go to the boys. See if you tricked him.
Oh, Adam, we could not be more honored. Thank you so much for doing our little show.
Thank you.
It's so great you wanted to come on. I mean, someone that's really, really been part of changing our culture, changing the future. When I say our, I don't mean Americans, I mean humanity. You've just done so much. I'm so thrilled you came on the show. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing that. And, you know, I'm trying to find ways that we have things in common because you're such a hero. One way is you shuffled cards a lot like we do sometimes. I really like that a lot. But I think the best way to try to figure out how you did this is to ask Siri. Hey, Siri, how did Adam do that great trick?
Oh, I think he used a secular stack like Cy Stebbins.
Was it his own? Was it one he developed himself?
I don't know, but if he did, he's even smarter than I thought he was.
So, did Siri figure it out?
Let me actually consult my favorite expert. Siri, did we fool them? F-O-O-L, fool. And Siri says...
Penn and Teller perform after the break. If there's one thing Penn and Teller love more than magic, it's good cooperage. While you all Google that word, let's bring out Penn and Teller!
Ooh, what's this? We're all staring at a barrel with things going through it. One thing I'll say for Penn and Teller, they have their finger on the pulse of the TV watching public. Because we're watching TV, we demand to see good cooperage. And there's some fine barrel building up on that stage. Nice bilge, good staves. It's such a peaceful act. Oh, a new character enters. Who is it? A target with a balloon meets a barrel with things. Now there's drama, suspense, conflict, action. The barrel makes its move. Ha-ha! And the barrel is victorious. And the target, balloonless, skulks off defeated. So how are they doing this? There's no one in the barrel, not those things going through it. No one behind it, no one underneath it. Can't be mechanical without bad marksmanship. So it must be a monkey. There's a monkey in the barrel. Something very simian about that barrel. People love animals in magic acts as long as they're treated with compassion, dignity, and respect. Ooh, what's happening now? What's the monkey doing? Those things do go all the way through. Oh, now it's a musical piece. Very free jazz, very avant-garde, very 21st century classical. Oh, I get it. But it's not a monkey. The big son of a bitch is in the barrel. That was a good trick. I'm 6'7" tall, weigh 236 pounds. That's a small barrel. That is a good trick. But it's not a great trick. It's never a great trick. I would have been comfortable in the barrel.